All right, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Erin Hunter, and I'm the senior editor here at Livelong Media. We're a longevity and health span focused media company whose goal is to make you look good, feel good, and live longer. I'm very excited to welcome Dr. Dobri Kiprov here today. Now, Dr. Kiprov is the founder of Global Apheresis, and he's the first to ever publish a paper on the aging effects of therapeutic plasma exchange. Now, we'll dive into that later, and you'll know all what it's about. But basically, I'm so excited to have him join us, and he's going to walk us through this new and exciting procedure and sort of therapeutic that could change the way we approach aging, healthy living, and our relationship with our bodies. So, Dr. Kiprov, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, I want to jump in to something first to add a little color. Um, Therapeutic plasma exchange works with the blood. Can you just give me a baseline of what our blood actually does and why do we need blood in the first place to be living, breathing humans?
Well, blood is very important. In fact, is essential for life in the human body. It provides the environment where all the cells of all the organs that we have live. So, blood distributes key ingredients of life: oxygen, hormones of different kinds, and so the blood distributes all these to the different parts of the body. So it's essential for life. Blood has different components. It has cells, red cells, white cells, platelets. They have different functions. And it has plasma. And the plasma is the fluid portion of the blood. And it contains a lot of proteins, immunoglobulins, uh, hormones, a variety of different substances. Again, vital for for survival.
So, blood is kind of akin to our trains, planes, and automobiles in the body, and it gets important little people and things from point A to point B.
To a certain extent, yes.
Oh, okay. No, fantastic. What I'm also curious about is how you mentioned plasma being the only liquid part of the blood. But when we get our blood drawn, it all looks like liquid. So, can you explain a bit more about this role of plasma?
The, the greatest component of blood is plasma. So uh, when you have a blood drawn, it will appear liquid because of that. The cells are really, excuse me, the cells are really small, and they they get mixed with the plasma. So yeah, so blood will appear liquid because of the fact that the majority of blood is plasma.
Okay. Okay. So, real quick, before we even dive into plasma exchange, and I would love if you could real quickly just eventually explain what that is. But can you tell me a little bit about your experience and what led you to studying and conceptualizing the idea of taking the liquid out of blood and then basically putting it back in, but a better version of it?
Uh, I've been involved in plasmapheresis and apheresis in general for many years, and I've been also very interested in uh, extending health span through a variety of ways, diet, exercise, and so forth. And I've been following the literature, and as you probably know, there have been quite a few experiments in the longevity field with animals, with fish, with flies, mice, and so forth. So I've been following the development of this science for quite some time. And in 2005, a very interesting publication from Stanford caught my eye, and it had to do with something that is called parabiosis. And parabiosis is an experimental model of connecting the blood circulation of two animals. In this case, the two animals were two genetically identical mice. One was old, the other one was young. And what the researchers found was that the young mouse became older and the old mouse became younger. The authors of this article, among the others, were Michael and Irina Comboy, good friends of mine. And they made a lot of different observations and found out that the old mouse got rejuvenated both morphologically, which means that when you do autopsy of the organs, they look younger uh, and rejuvenated, including the brain, the liver, and so forth. Obviously, in humans, we cannot do that, but there are other parameters that were improved as well, certain proteins in the blood and so forth. So I was very interested in this because it had to do with blood, and I do stuff with blood. So maybe there is something in common here. And I started working with the convoys, and I think 2012 or maybe 2013, I published the hypothesis that plasmapheresis may be the parabiosis in humans, or we can design it in such way that it will mimic parabiosis in humans. And that's where it all started.
So, one thing you said that was awesome is I do stuff with blood. I feel like that should be your slogan. Like, I do stuff with blood. But no, that's a fantastic, crazy study. The fact that changing your blood and giving an older thing younger blood actually makes it younger. And I'm excited to dive into that concept a little bit. But first, on just the human scale, can you explain then what therapeutic plasma exchange is versus something like what they did with the mice? How does it look different, and what is the therapeutic aspect about new blood?
Yeah, I think that one thing I didn't mention and I should have is the fact that people forget that the young mouse actually got older. So this is a two-way street. It's not just one thing that happens. There are a lot of different things that happen. They're pretty complicated, and I don't think we know all of them yet. However, the the blood, as I mentioned in the beginning, is really uh, the the basics of everything that happens in the body. It feeds the body in a variety of different ways and establishes establishes the background for everything that is happening in the body. So there's something called homeostasis, and that is if everything is in balance in the blood, it provides the environment for cells in every organ to flourish. And if this homeostasis is impaired for one reason or another, uh, that impairs the whole function of every part of the body. So uh, as we age, the the composition of the different proteins in the blood change, and this is very important because these harmful proteins that accumulate in the blood are the cause of many diseases. The majority of these diseases have to do with inflammation. So what we do with therapeutic plasma exchange, we remove the old plasma, the plasma of somebody who is 60, 70, or 80 years old, and replace it with fluids that contain the essentials of the plasma. We don't use plasma per se, but we use albumin, which is about 65% of the plasma. The reason we do that is for safety reasons. It is not a good idea to use plasma from other people because this causes severe reactions, adverse reactions. So uh, the idea to use plasmapheresis is to remove the old plasma. So we assumed at the time, and now we have proven that there are a variety of substances that circulate in the plasma that contribute to the aging process. And so we want to remove them, and we can remove them relatively easy by performing plasma exchange, which removes the plasma, the old plasma of the body, and replaces it with human albumin.
What what are the immediate effects that people would notice if they got this procedure, especially when it comes to aging or even feeling better? Is it something you feel, or is it something that people say, "Oh, it works, so it must be true"? Like,
So the most significant effect of therapeutic plasma exchange is anti-inflammatory. It heals inflammation very rapidly. And so if somebody comes in at a certain age with joint pains, for example, or swollen joints, or some rash uh, in the skin and so forth, the effect will be almost immediate. So after the procedure or two procedures, the pain will ease up or completely disappear, and so will the rash. So the anti-inflammatory effect of plasma exchange, as I mentioned, is very potent. If people have no complaints at the moment they undergo the procedure, it is difficult for them to determine what is going on because the effect will take some time to show up. And they will feel this, and I have testimonials of people describing how they feel. They uh, feel more energy, they feel really rejuvenated and be able to do things that usually at their age people cannot do.
wow. So, is it something that after the first or second time, you feel the effects, and then, especially if you have inflammation, is it something that you would need to go back and do year after year, make sure just to keep upcycling and doing more plasma exchange? Or is this a procedure that maybe you do it once or twice and then the results are very long?
No, the results are not very long, sadly to say. So
Mm.
aging is a chronic disease, and so are the chronic inflammatory diseases associated with aging. So since it is a chronic process, it will need chronic treatment.
Mm.
And everybody's different. People ask me all the time, well, how many treatments do I need and all that. But at the moment, after the initial more intensive course, we recommend 3 to 4 treatments per year. And it seems to work very well. We have experience now of exactly 10 years. We started doing this in 2016, and our first patients are doing very well at the moment. And we are very proud that they had no side effects and they um, have experienced no illness of any sort. So they're 10 years older now, chronologically, but biologically they're 10 years younger.
So, this this seems like it has very, very promising effects, especially in preventative and especially in preventing disease. I'm I'm sometimes surprised that it's not more talked about or that these up and coming treatments like you have are not necessarily part of the discussion then about new anti-aging. And my question to you is, one, is this something anyone can do? Can anyone go and get a blood plasma exchange? And then also, what does the research look like right now? Because I think one of the big things that pushes things into the popular health space is that if there's a lot of research, it starts to get more credibility and more people hear about it through the grapevine.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think that we have taken this path of proving ourselves through clinical trials. And I'm proud of the fact that I designed the first controlled clinical trial in aging, and it involves therapeutic plasma exchange and other things. So it was just published about a month ago in Aging Cell, and it is getting some attention, but people like you will bring more attention to this. So we got some, written uh, success, I would guess, in the New York Times and other publications. The word is spreading. I mean, there is more and more attention. Therapeutic plasma exchange is poorly understood in the medical community because it is a procedure. It is not sponsored by a big pharma, so it doesn't get the attention of a monoclonal antibody that exists. So there is room for education, and there is room for spreading the word around that what we do is really very valuable, very safe, and it can help a lot of people. And I am glad that you mentioned the word prevention. I think that the key here is prevention. We want to prevent the diseases of aging. The diseases of aging are all chronic inflammatory diseases. The bottom line is that there is chronic inflammation that brings all these diseases to fruition. And uh, interestingly enough, they do appear much more after age 55, 60, and then they become really a burden for society, for the healthcare system, and financial burden for the country you live in. So if we can prevent or prolong the health span, instead of being 50 or 60, being 70 or 80, we can make a dramatic change in humanity.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And I'm stoked to see that many, many people and many folks such as yourself are doing things that are s- hopefully just going to make people feel better on a daily basis. I think it's never like a magic pill. I think what people want is just consistently to have a good quality of life. And it's one of the hardest things you can get, which is why it's so exciting to learn about things that can help people be happier and feel good on a daily basis. So I want to be conscientious of your time and just ask a few more quick questions here. Something you brushed on is that people who are around 50 and 60, that's when noticeable changes start to happen and inflammation gets worse. Is that right now the theory about when people should be starting this treatment if they choose to do so?
Uh, yes, at the moment that is the case. Having said that, there there is a study that was recently published and originates from England, from the national health system in England, where they have a lot of data. They accumulate a lot of data, which in these days is essential to make decisions. And what they found is that the biologic age of certain individuals at the age of 35, 40 can be increased. And I'll explain this in a second. But in any event, if the biologic age of younger people is is elevated more than their chronologic age, they're predisposed to a variety of diseases, including cancer and other inflammatory diseases. So, uh, just to explain the difference between chronologic and biologic age. Chronologic age is your real age. You were born on a certain date, and that's your age. Uh, the organs of the body do not age exactly the same way uh, as the other organs. So your heart may age differently than your brain, and vice versa, and your kidneys and so forth. And we have the ability to measure biologic age these days, primarily through DNA methylation, but other tests are coming on board too. So measuring biologic age is very important because if the biologic age of somebody is really higher than their chronologic age, they should pay attention to their health, and they may require treatment or prevention earlier than somebody with normal or a diminished biologic age.
So this also makes me believe that folks who want to do interventions such as therapeutic plasma exchange would do a good service to themselves to try to figure out their biological age first. And
Yeah,
then maybe once you do that, then therapeutic plasma exchange can be used in a way that most suits what your end goals are when it comes to your health and your biologic age.
right.
Wow. So you also mentioned, and I appreciate this bit, early in the conversation that, hey, there's still very much room for diet, sleep, lifestyle, exercise, these things that can also be healthy for your blood and your circulation, that are things we can do on a daily basis. As someone who's studied plasma and blood and the health of our circulation, what are just some quick hot tips you would recommend for how people should eat or move or think about sleeping?
All these things that you mentioned are very, very important. So there is something that these days we call exposome, and that is everything in the environment that we as humans are exposed to. And all this stuff has an effect on our system, on our body, on our health. And this includes the pollution, it includes toxic elements in the water, microplastics, all that kind of stuff, including also infections like Lyme disease, and so it's very complex uh, thing to consider. But everything should be uh, considered when somebody wants to expand their health span. So, having said that, there are at the moment there are three proven ways to extend your health span. When I say proven, this means that there are controlled clinical trials to prove that. And one is the Mediterranean diet, the other one is exercise, and the third one, newly developed, is therapeutic plasma exchange. These are the only three things that are proven with controlled clinical trials that they work. So sticking to those three is a good idea. There are other things, of course, that are very important, and that is sleep, as you mentioned, very, very important. Uh, of course, trying to stay away from toxic elements very important. And it's very important to choose your food. What you eat is very important, but you know, buying food from farmers market is going to put years to your life. There's no question about it. You buy fresh fruit in vegetables in season. Very important to stick with foods in season. Uh, Eat more fish than meat, and sleep well. But very important to exercise too. It really doesn't matter what exercise. But every day you should at least walk. And if you can run a little bit, that's good. Playing tennis with exactly what you want. Yesterday I treated a lady who is who is 82, close to 83 years old, and she got her treatment, and she asked me, "Can I go now and play pickleball with my sisters?" 83, and I said, "Sure, if you feel good enough." And she did. She went and played pickleball with her people. So whatever exercise you like, it doesn't matter what it is. Just do it.
Just move. And I hope she won. To be honest, I hope the therapeutic plasma exchange gave her a leg up and they won. That's fantastic. I just want to wind down and allow you to tell the people where can we learn more about this and where can we find you and potentially see if this is something people would like to try.
Our website has a lot of videos, has a lot of explanation, the information how to find me and how to schedule a Zoom to explain certain things and do a free consultation for your particular situation or disease. Uh, and it's called Global Apheresis.
Awesome. Dr. Kiprov, thank you for joining. It's what a fun, interesting topic. It's the blood. It's something we have in our entire body and just don't think about that often.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I hope you have an amazing day.
I will.